Okay, a couple of things I want to mention, guys. Very important for all trees or species that you bring or haul back as far as bow staves go, but very important for a softer wood like eastern red cedar. When you're hauling it back, when you fell it, when you drag it off, however you get it back to your home or your shop, try to prevent damage to it. Because with a piece of wood like this, what I'm going to show you how to do is actually just remove the bark, and you're going to use that very first layer of wood, sapwood, as your back of the bow. So you want to keep, even though there's protective bark on it, this wood dents easily. So you want to keep as much damage off of the actual wood underneath the bark as possible. So try and treat it gently. Of course, that's going to be a little difficult depending on the size of the tree you fell and haul off, but once again, that's why I suggest starting with a small diameter piece that you can easily manipulate, easily carry off, easily handle, and easily make sure it kind of stays pristine. You went through all the trouble to cut it down and find and locate the perfect tree to start your journey on. You might as well take care of it. So anyway, when you get it back, I know most people say just go ahead and throw glue or paint on the ends to seal it up so it doesn't split, but eastern red cedar dries very fast. Typically within a couple of months it's ready to work. We can even speed that up further. What you're going to do is you're going to cut this, you're going to split it first into staves. You're going to leave the bark on because it's going to protect it, the underwood, like I said. And you need to do that, either you can do it on a bed of hay or straw, or an area in your yard that has no rocks underneath, so you're not going to damage anything when you're pounding the splitting heads into it and splitting this. But anyway, by splitting it, and then we're going to go ahead and do it one step further, we're going to take it down in dimensions to near the bow shape that you have in mind, and then we're going to set it up to season and dry, and that will cut the time in half, so you could possibly have a bow, or a bow blank I should say, ready in a month's time, depending on your climate. But a month with a eastern red cedar bow blank should be plenty to start working it. So we're going to go ahead and talk about now how to select where to begin splitting it. You're going to look at your piece that you have selected even more carefully now. And you're going to try and find, every side is going to be different, and with a bow that you're going to leave the underwood as your backing, you want to find something that isn't too rounded, so it doesn't have too high of a crown, like this. Depending on the bow style you're going to make, but most what I found with eastern red cedar is you can get away with some crown, and that'll put more of the stress on the back, which sapwood is tension strong in eastern red cedar. So, but I don't want to get too scientific. Again, I just want to make this experience for you all efficient, with as little, the possibility of as little mistakes as possible. And I don't want you to get discouraged along the way, because if you're able to look at it and see it done simply and maybe explained in a simpler way, then maybe you'll take the shot and go after it and give it a try, because it's really fun, it's really addicting. It's great to take a piece of nature and craft a tool from it. I'm addicted to it, and it's just a wonderful thing. Could be a lot worse things to be addicted to. So anyway, you want to look at the piece of wood. You want to see if there's any crooked turns, any damage that you didn't see when it was standing up in the woods, because sometimes you miss some stuff. If you want to see if there's any knots or raised areas that you may want to split here. Anyway, so what I'm looking at is I see a section here where there's been some previous damage, and the tree has grown around it and continued on. It looks like there's more right here. So now this, of course, could be the belly where you could shave that off, but I feel like I'm going to split this piece of wood right here and split it all the way down its length. Following that, it'll take out this pin knot, it'll take care of this one, and what I mean by taking care of it, it'll take care of this one. They won't be issues anymore because they'll be split out. And you can see right here, there's a ridge and indentation right here where the tree growth has happened. We're going to split that there. So this should end up with two, at minimum, two good workable sections. And then from there, we'll take it down to a basic roughed out bow blank, and then glue up the ends to let it season. So we'll start on it now. Okay, now that you have this split, the next step is to either cut it to length, because you don't want to work on anything more than you have to. Again, efficiency, taking too long, wasting time, wasting material. So you want to look at it again, and you want to kind of see and imagine your bow in which piece of wood you're going to work on first, and which one you want to try and tackle first, and start to remove material to make it a much smaller piece, so it will cure faster. So you want to imagine what bow you're going to make. You're going to take a look at everything and try and picture what design you're going to make out of it. Now, one thing I should say is you don't want to go out, which this is my personal feeling. I try and search for a good piece of wood, and then I look at it closely as I start to diminish it and remove material, and it tells me what kind of bow it's going to be. Whether it be a short or a long bow, pyramid bow, sinew-backed bow, which if you wanted a sinew-back one, again, I'm trying to make this video for beginners and novice, and sinew-backing is not a beginner's step. But if you have experience, then obviously, it doesn't really matter what you do to the back of this bow. You can kind of take it down to any layer you wish and apply sinew to it. You can also, which I have done with my first Eastern Red Cedar bow, was I just left the back alone underneath the bark, and I made it into a tillered shooting bow first. Then I sinew-backed it and recurved the tips, and I'll show you that one shortly. But there's many options. I wanted you to see the end. Now the bark is, good thing about cedar is that its sap is always flowing. So this bark is very easy. As you can see, you can just sit there and work it off with a small screwdriver or your fingernails, and which I'm going to use a draw knife to make quicker work of it. But as you can see the difference, hopefully this will focus. Yeah, there we go. This is the cambium layer underneath the outer bark. This is the layer, this is the back of your bow right here. That's what you want to get down to. So this is what you're trying not to damage. You need to get all of this off for the entire section piece of the bow blank to which you desire to make a bow from. But first, we're going to cut this to length. We're going to figure out the design of bow, cut it to length, and you can even begin shaping it then. Take off some of the material, and because it doesn't make sense to remove bark from all of the stave if you're not going to use all of the staves. So save your time and effort, and I'm going to use power tools. I'll show you that, and you can get it down to a bow blank size, and then you can just remove the bark from what's left, and then we'll seal it up and go on to the next step. Now this is going to be a short bow. I cut this, and I'm making this for a good friend, Ron, and he wants to make a sinew backed bow, shorty. So I went and selected this for him this morning, and I'm going to cut it to I think about 55 inches, and then rip it into some kind of a bow blank, so you can see how that's done, and then get all the bark off of it, seal up the ends, and start its seasoning. So let's get on to that.